Okay, we're back here at the homepage again, and this day lesson is for related to emails, and we're going to be going into the creation of an email. Now, I intend on taking several different lessons to explain this all so that the lessons are not so long that you forget the beginning to the end. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit the Create the Email button again from the Email Campaigns drop-down box. And we're confronted with, again, the first thing that we have to do in pretty much any project that we do within this program is to name it. And so we're going to name this one Test. Now when we've got the name, it asks us to identify the format that we want to send the email in. And this particular program articulates into text what you're doing in HTML code. So I leave it this way. That way you are appealing to the greatest audience, no matter who you send this email to. You're sending it in the only two formats that are available, so the person to whom you are sending it, barring any spam issues, which we will discuss in some detail in just a little bit, will get the email. The next thing is the use of a template. Now there's two parts to this, and it's going to refer to a later lesson, because up here at the very top of the program you have templates, and here you have the ability to create your own template. Now when you create your own template, you create a template that you can use repeatedly, but you have a choice of making that template global or not. If you make the template global, which is really not in your best interest, you make it available to everyone in the system, and so you want to be kind of careful there. We'll cover that in greater detail later on. But when we come here, we have the custom templates. Now these are templates that have been created by various people on the system, and they were left to be made global, and so any one of these templates are selectable. The one that we're going to be working with today, which is Deal of the Week, which is right here, when we click that template, nothing happens other than the fact that it gets highlighted. If we were to go down here to the built-in templates and we were to click one, we see that it appears over here in the view box. So in other words, if a template is one that is created either by you or someone else, and you select that template, you're going to have to remember the name of it, because it is not going to come up in the view box. Now there's quite a list of templates which are provided for you that you can morph into whatever you want it to. So we're going to go back here to Deal of the Week, and we're going to look at that template in its own light. So we can't see it here, and we're going to go to the actual development of an email, and we're going to go to the next button. When we get to the next button, the first thing we're creating is the subject line of the email. Keep in the back of your mind that the subject line of the email is most probably the most important part of any email that you send, because that is the only thing that the person's going to see when they open up their email browser. Think about your email browser for just a few minutes. When you look at your email browser, it gives you who sent the email, and then it gives you the subject line. Based on what you read there, either by who sent it or the content of the subject line, is going to greatly determine whether or not you continue to open the email and see what the contents are. Remember all the spam issues and all the issues of viruses. Keep in the back of your mind again that people are still aware and scared of downloading viruses into their system, because one of the primary methods for people to inject other people's computers with viruses are through email. And so consequently, you're going to want to make sure that the subject line and your name are prominently displayed, and you're sending your email to people who know who you are. An email does no good if somebody doesn't open it. So this again becomes the most important line that you're going to deal with in creating an email. As we go down, we can see that we can create the contents of the email using, and this WYSWYG is what you see is what you get. And that is what you see below here. What you see is what you get. Now, there is a way that you can turn this function off if you start screwing around in my account, and we're going to go there in just a little bit, but when you start messing around in there, you can turn this function off, and the only thing that you're going to have is code. It's going to be a little frightening to you. You don't want that to happen, so when you start moving around, always remember what you did so you can undo it. You can also upload a file from your computer. In other words, if you have this particular email that you receive from somebody, you can actually upload this and duplicate it from your computer, and it gives you the browse button, allows you to go back and browse your files on your computer, and allows you to find an email that someone sent you. So if you find an email that's dynamite that somebody sent you and you would like to use it in your own business, you can do that. And I'm going to show you how to do that in later lessons, but you can't upload an email from someone else. Now, the last thing we can do is import a file from a website. And again, here we're allowed to go out on the web and to find different websites that have information on them, and we want to import them. Maybe it's the idea that we want to import a piece of art. We can do that from here. But the thing that I caution people about putting art into programs or emails, people spend a lot of time developing a very, very pretty email. The problem with art in an email is it's unnatural. Emails were not set up to be artsy. They were set up to be a conveyance of information. People look at those as a conveyance of information. When you send an email that's very artsy, you take away the person's attention reading the email from what you want them to read to the art that you've created. That's the intention that you bring to the table when you put art in a program. Now, am I saying that pictures don't work? Absolutely not. Actually, the reverse of it is that pictures work very well. But if your intent is to create borders and all this other stuff to make an email look very, very attractive, in many cases, what you're doing is deterring the person's attention away from the message you really want to send to them and putting it on the artwork that you've done. So we're going to get into some of this in greater detail as we get into content, but suffice it to say that the ratio of text to images, and images include anything that's a picture, a piece of artwork, a piece of clip art, anything that is not text. The ratio should not exceed 25-75, with the 25 being the art content or graphics content, and the 75% being the text portion of it. Now, the reason why this is important is because of the fact that, remember, we talked about the companies that receive these emails, such as Gmail, Ymail, Yahoo. They monitor these emails for content. They cannot determine the content of a piece of art. Because they cannot determine the content of a piece of art, and you've used a lot of it, they make the assumption that what you're transmitting is something you don't want them to see. And so in many cases, especially Gmail and Yahoo, they do not allow that piece of mail through to the recipient that you intended it to go to. Call it fair, call it unfair, it doesn't make any difference. Knowing the rules are very important, and if you can't get the piece of mail that you sent through, it's of no value. So that's going to conclude the first part of this lesson on the preparation of sending an email and making decisions on their content. If you have any questions or you need help, and I'm saying help being we're not in the business of creating emails. We have people on our staff that can do that for you, but that is not included in your monthly fee. That would be a fee in and above what we normally do. So, but if you have any questions about the data or materials that we handled in this particular portion of this lesson, please hit the help button. In many cases, the frequently asked questions will answer your question for you, but should you not find it there, you can send an email to our staff and we will email you back, or we will call you if you provide us with that information. So again, we hope that this program is very beneficial to you and hope that you have a great day.